Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my DevilNeverCry 5, Dante Must Die, S rank walkthrough. This is mission 16, it is Diverging Point Dante. And I managed to get this mission on my second attempt. Coming off of mission 10, these missions are going to be falling like dominoes because you have to work really hard on that particular mission, and on these ones you can get away with murder. So the big thing to know on this one, folks, is there's a couple of mandatory fights, a couple of tricky ones, and then at the end, of course, you're going to be taking on Cerberus. Cerberus is homage and throwback to the classic DevilNeverCry 3 boss, and he's not too bad, actually, once you understand how he works. The strategy that I'm going to show you is kind of a really simple one that you can adapt into your own playstyle and do what you need. But this first encounter here is against a nobody and a Lucatia, and you have to give this enemy no respect. This particular teleporting mage is going to make your life absolutely miserable unless you deal with him. And just isolate him, dominate him, and then when he dies, you can get back into the hazardous mess that is fighting those nobodies. If this guy's allowed to get away with any moves, he's just going to make everything worse. And as you noticed just then, he's devil triggered, so he's going to take a little bit more of the old damage, but we'll deal with him as we can. He teleports away. I'm using Dante's sword, which has got the wonderful round trip ability if you hold the button. It's an absolute lifesaver for continuing combos, doing damage, and sometimes stunning and juggling enemies that can be quite awkward like this guy. But he falls just then, and now we can start fighting the nobodies. So nobodies in this game are pretty interesting. I'm going to be using my SDT to get rid of these guys. SDT, I think it's called, right? And showcasing that this technique doesn't really do too much for me when it comes to the style measure. When I see people use this ability, they usually get like the greatest triple S and all these points, and then I use it and everybody blocks and all the shots miss. So I don't have the same success with this ability, but it's nice to pull it out against a fight that you don't really want to deal with, and then once you're done with that, it builds your style so you can proceed to then hit them with some different things. But now that there's just one nobody, he's got half HP, we can start cashing in this rating by just doing different moves, hitting him with some good damage, and then proceeding to taunt in midair to get the rose, taunt on the ground, swap between your weapons, add in a couple of different techniques and skills and some of the moves you might not have used, and just be careful of that. That was really obvious that was going to happen, but for some reason I didn't react to it. I don't know why. I even saw it on watching it back, I'm sure you did as well, and alas, just didn't jump. But right there, did you see that? I don't know if that was a questionable hitbox, or if I had an iframe coming out of that gunslinger move, but I should have been hit then and I wasn't. So I definitely had the gods of Olympus watching over me in that moment. But we come out of that fight with 6,200 style points. You'll notice that this level for me gets a little bit framey when I'm playing and when I'm recording. This is one of the areas that I'm not entirely certain why it hits my performance on my CPU so hard, but it does. And it's still completely playable, still a really fun game, but this is one of the areas you'll see that I was really happy to get this quickly because I didn't want to run into any crazy frame rate problems. But the next fight involves a green Impusa and a couple of the Riot, I don't know why I said that like that. Aren't these guys called Chaos anyway? Yeah, these are the Chaos versions of the Riots, which are essentially an armoured, roly-poly, sneaky demon guy who is a reptile of sorts. So I begin this fight by accidentally doing a sexy reversal combo jump cancel. They're still in the game, hashtag rescue the reversals. They're not, I don't know what happened then. And once you've got rid of him and his healing capacity, you can focus on the bad guys, but when they start spinning and you don't shoot them, it gets confusing. At this moment in time, I don't know enough about this particular enemy and their break points for things, but I know that once you get rid of their spikes, they go into a really, really big stun, and then from there you can proceed to just cash in with some moves. Right now is both Depth Perception and DevilNeverCry 5 doing its best to stop me from hitting those sexy-ass moves on that stupid flying Impusa. And then we have 3 of the Chaoses, and one of them have now devil triggered. So I'm going to be using crowd control with Cerberus electricity moves. I'm going to try and knock them into the sky with Balrog. I take a really sloppy hit just there, there's no excuse for that. And then I go back into million stabs on this guy on the ground. My style rating's in the toilet because of the hit, so I'm going to do a real impact in devil trigger to try and raise it up a little bit. There's the rose, just to see if I can get some extra style points. And then I'm going to proceed to keep this guy in a perpetual stun state by using the Cavalier, one of the most interesting weapons in this game. Absolutely ridiculous, absolutely confusing, but once you start to understand it, it gets real fun. And it's keeping the style up pretty well so far, which is quite nice, as we go between the different Swordmaster moves. And I could be going into the quadruple S technique, going into SDT for free, getting a couple of hits and coming out. But at this moment, I'm just focusing on doing the simple stuff and getting hit. Jesus Christ, he whipped me from that range. That was bad. But it gives you faith, guys, doesn't it? If I can play like that and take all these sloppy hits and still get this S rank, so can you. But you'll notice the stylish points went down to 5,700 just then. So that fight, in the grand scheme of the average, hurt me a lot. It hurt me because I didn't play very well, and it hurt me because I just wasn't able to accrue the same kind of points I did for the previous one. Luckily, as long as you get over 5,000 and you don't die, you are pretty much guaranteed to get the S rank. Sometimes there's those rare moments when you don't, but for the most you should be okay. And then coming down here we have a couple of the behemoths, sorry, not the behemoths, the Baphomets. If this was a couple of behemoths, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Because that's an enemy that you have to wail on for 20 years. Oh, and speaking of, there he is. That's probably why I mentioned him, because I had him in the brain. But 2 Baphomets and a Behemoth. I'm going to isolate these guys because they can be a havoc if you don't. Go into the dance, put him down, into the stinger, into the round trip, into charging the move that everybody laments not being on the other weapon, into the rose, into some different Cerberus techniques, building the style, jumping away from the moving hitbox of doom, and then this guy Devil Trigger so he can do some jabbing from Balrog, and then I think I'm going to show you something quite interesting with this guy, and by interesting, I mean he just really can't do much. Because if you stand next to this enemy, you can proceed to just do nothing but real impacts, and he doesn't really have an answer. I go into SDT, do the combo, come out of it, go back into real impact, bust him up again, probably go back into, do the rose, do some Balrog punches, back into SDT, do the combo, and then back into Balrog, back into real impact. And it's so many stun frames happening right now that this man's having a terrible time. Somebody needs to stop the match. But nobody's throwing in the towel, and how he missed me then, I don't know. That was a scary moment, but you do some incredible damage to this monster when you can just keep him on the side like that. I throw the round trips his way. I know he's going to charge at me, so I'm going to parry him. That will stun him if you do Revolver, and then you can proceed to do whatever you want to do, and then we finish him off, and I think that must have added some style points, that one, right, to the 5,400 we had before. There you go, 6,500. Did I do anything stylish? You bet your ass I didn't. Did I stand next to him mashing the best move in the game? You bet your ass I did. And it works, you know? And it's one of the tragedies, but also one of the virtues of rank running Devil May Cry 5. You don't have to be perfect. There's just a couple of levels that are going to make you feel like you're not very good at the game. And this is not one of them. This is a fun level. I like this one. And there's a pretty challenging Judeca fight coming up at the bottom of this area. But luckily for me, I end up getting ragtime from the AI who's playing with me. And it enables me to skip the fight pretty much, which was handy. You might wonder why I'm getting into the flame mode with Balrog. It's because I know he's coming, and it's going to be one of those walls that fences you off, and I know that I'm going to be able to, as soon as he spawns, hopefully hit him with some real impacts. But when this happens, I actually thought that the ragtime was the Judeca doing some kind of new buff that I've not seen before. I didn't understand what was going on. So right now, I'm like, what's going on? What happened? And then he counters me in that moment because he's a beast, and then I real impact him and realise it must be Nero using the buff, or maybe V, or something happened then, and it enabled me to kill him instantly with 2 real impacts in Devil Trigger. And now it's just a Hellkiner and a Hell Antenora, and we're just going to go into the standard combos, juggle them into some combos, into some aerial raves, into using Cerberus, into going through the move list and going through the Swordmaster skills, doing a couple of cancels, maybe a taunt here or there, and just building that style points and getting hit sloppily by the most telegraphed move in the game. What the hell was I doing? I suppose, in my defense, this was a second attempt, which means I'd probably not even warmed up. So I'm playing pretty rough, and I'm getting the job done, so hopefully I can motivate you to do the same. But there we go, doing some big hits into a Devil-Triggered Stinger, into some Gunslinger, into more Stingers, into some knockdowns and some combos, and all kinds of iframes into Revolvers. Clearly the most stylish player you've ever witnessed. I'm the second coming of Breya. Boom, the lightning. Into the motorcycle, into the kill. And then we can move on to my 10-minute plus video against Cerberus. So, if you've never fought Cerberus on Dante Must Die, you need to understand that he has an incredible capacity to take a beating. Look at the frames right now. That fight hurt me, but not too much. And we're not there yet, because we have a Fury along with a bunch of Death Scissors. And this is a really interesting dynamic, this, because Death Scissors are very weak and very vulnerable if you parry them, but they're also a bit of a nuisance, and of course the Fury is just a nuisance by default. And what I'm going to do here might seem like a crazy strategy, but it works. I'm going to use aerial ridiculousness to engage against these guys, and I'm going to ignore the Fury. And then once I've killed these guys, I'm going to kill him. And I did this because I just think it's one of the gooder ways to do this. Good is a great word, Chris. Thank you for sharing that. But I think it's one of the better ways of doing it, because if you can keep him off camera, and if you can keep these guys in this kind of engagement, he seems to miss you more than he hits. The Fury seems to be way more balanced than you think. And as long as you don't give him too much attention and give him too much center stage, you can really just kind of deal with him. See that, by the way? If you missed that, that might be... I did it again! Oh, that's so much fun. Dude, that's the ultimate Fury disrespect. Did you see that shit? Trickster over to Fury, jump off him to get to the guy I want to fight. That's my favourite part of this video. Just the ultimate disrespect towards such a douchebag of an enemy that nobody likes, right? Even though he's kind of cool and everything. But now that I've killed everything, I can fight him. And the camera is not helping me right now. So I end up doing an out-of-context revolver, and I have to recover now with some iframes. Handily, there's quite a lot in the jump, so they're going to help me out. But there's the knockdown, into the Balrog, into a couple of jabs. He gets out of it. I'm going to go back into Ice Age, because it's my go-to move for blocking the tomfoolery of this guy. I stinger him, I go into a launcher, do some jump cancels on him, come down with a Helmbreaker, but he's already out of it, so there's no need for that. And here he goes again. Does his first fake out, hits into the Ice Age, into Cavalier, he gets out of that, he Devil Triggers, and then he's going to do it again. Here he comes. Into Ice Age, boings off, come out of Ice Age, into the uppercut, into a couple jabs, into, hopefully, the real impact, and there we go. And he's done. And all in all, considering I'm not playing the best that I could be playing right now, that was a clean fight, right? Pretty clean. And then our stylish points didn't take a big hit because I dealt with those people appropriately, and now we can move on and start taking on Cerberus. So the theme of this walkthrough has not only been like the first victory is the one I share, but it's also been using strategies that enable to kind of get any player through these bosses, so you don't have to do any kind of crazy just frame inputs and intricate ballets of button presses. And the best strategy that I came up with, guys, was to stand in front of this boss and jab it. Stand in front of him, jab him, and then if you stun him, you can do a real impact. Depending on how much you hit him will depend on how much you can stun him. But what I want to do here with this fight, I don't want this to... This is not meant to be impressive, this is not meant to be the best strategy. It's meant to give you confidence. When you stand in front of Cerberus, he's going to do 3 or 4 different swings, and that's all he really does. And it gives you the opportunity to replace the jabs that I'm doing right now with whatever move you want to do. Do you like Cerberus? Use Cerberus. Do you like Rebellion? Use Rebellion. It doesn't matter. All the jabs are right now are a placeholder for just how much you can stand in front of this boss and get away with murder. And you'll notice, when he swings towards me, I jump. I can jump and dodge these moves and he'll not hurt me. However, if you press Royal Guard in the air, you'll do the easiest Royal Guard you've ever done, and you're building future damage to bank on him. Future Devil Trigger, future all of these things. If you want, you can double jump, go into SDT, do a ton of damage, and then just keep on getting Devil Trigger from doing these blocks, because they give you so much. And you can kill this guy in like 4 or 5 activations of SDT. And you'll do him in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And as long as you time it for when he's transforming so that you stun him and he never ever catches you recovering from that move, you'll never have problems here. On my practice run, because the first attempt at this was a practice run, and I don't know what that was. He's changing into the electric form now, so you can see what I do for the electric form. At a distance, this form, whenever he shoots out the balls at you, if you shoot them with Ebony and Ivory, you get Devil Trigger back, and you get a lot. So all I do is send Round Trip his way, and I play defensive right now. For optimum damage and a quicker strategy here, go into SDT as he's transforming, and then just stun the tits off him. For this move, sidestep. Sidestep so it doesn't touch you. This is all he does, guys. In this form, he only has one extra move, which is a laser that he barely ever does, and this is all you have to do. There's no reason to be afraid of this boss. There's no reason to worry. When he does this, he's transforming into a different phase. Depending on the colour that he has, depends on what phase he's going to do. And now he goes into the most annoying phase, which is the ice phase. So swap into Trickster, trick towards him, wait for the end of his ice age, and then stand in his face so that he swings at you like that. Unfortunately, I get caught just then. But when you're in front of him, if you have Royal Guard on, you can Royal Guard his swings, and then he'll do this move, which is an Icicle Rain, but it's fine ice, and then you can swap into the Kalina Ann, do a Cascade, and then you can Trickster back towards him, and then as long as you're in front of him, he'll generally do moves that prioritise you instead of the Sky Rain stuff, and then all you do your moves, jump and counter, jump and Royal Guard. It takes no timing, it takes almost no skill. And then he's doing this, which means he's going to transform into the fire mode. And now you've seen every different mode, and you can do what you want to do. The gun move I did just then, that did that big chunk of damage, is called Cascade. All you do is hold triangle. It's really easy to do. A lot of recovery, so be careful. And then when he's in fire mode, he likes to spam the rush attack, and that's pretty much the full fight. This is all you do, guys. Stand in front of him, do whatever moves you like that build your combo that you like to do, and then every time he swings, jump and press Royal Guard. It takes no practice, it takes no real timing, you just have to have the understanding of jumping as soon as the hit is about to touch you, and then you just cash in as much as you want. And that's what we're going to be doing now for the next 10 minutes, so... Not the most interesting fight, but... Look at the style, guys. I'm doing absolutely nothing. I'm keeping the style to triple S. I could be going into SDT right now and hitting him and interrupting him and stunning him. There's so many tools, so many options to shit on this boss. And I'm hoping that just by watching this, your mind's blown and you're going to go and bully Cerberus and never have a problem with him. And I'm going into SDT now to kind of show you what you can do when you use this. So... Using the charge hits now, he's going to hit him in the face, build the style for us, do a bunch of damage. It stunned him, so he's on the ground. Look at the damage, by the way, guys. Do you see how quicker this could have been? This is the kind of damage you can do. Then I fuck up the ender, don't get the combo, and he's so stunned he can't even hurt me coming out of it. And that's all you do. On my practice run, I stunned this boss a ton just by jabbing him. I don't know what was different. I get almost no stuns in this run. I think it might be better to jump cancel his face with Balrog if you want to go for stuns. But if he falls down and you do real impacts to him in Devil Trigger, you'll do massive chunks. I did 3 or 4 real impacts and I nearly took off maybe half his bar. You can kill this boss immeasurably quicker than this, but here's the laser, by the way. Look how hard this is to dodge. See that? Almost died, didn't I? Like, there's nothing here, guys. This boss is very fair, it's very balanced. The only problem with it is it's got 99 million life. And there's a Cascade that missed, unfortunately. And he goes into the ice stance, so Trickster towards him, get in front of him if you can. If he puts his head up again, it means more ice will come, so Trickster away, and then when he starts swinging, Royal Guard. Jump and Royal Guard. Jab his face, jump and Royal Guard. When he backs up and starts doing weird charge moves, it means he's going to do the Icicle Rain, so just back up, and then hit him with Cascade. It missed again, because I don't think I was locked on. And then after that, you want to move forward, because he's going to breathe ice directly towards you. Use Trickster, it'll make it faster, and then Royal Guard. And I could have done Royal Guard against the Cavaliere Angelo guy, but I wanted to show a strategy that didn't involve using timing. The reason I'm using it here, guys, is because it doesn't involve timing, really. All you do is press it in the air once you've jumped. It's unbelievably simple. Like, you might be watching this and you have no experience with guard and thinking, wow, this looks really skillful. It ain't, guys. Anybody can do this. We go into SDT. Just to speed this up a little bit, after I've shown you that you were safe, you can do this at your own leisure, you can get Devil Trigger back really consistently, and he just can't hit you in the air. And look how quick you like start making him flinch. That time, I didn't stun him, but I went into the combo correctly, and then this will stun him almost every time, right? So he's getting it, yeah, there it was, look. He's having a bad time, dude. He's stunned, we're coming out of it, we're recovering, he's Devil Triggered now. We're going to Trickster towards him, go into a real impact. And then the real impact bloody missed because he stood up, because that's my luck. And now he's transforming to electricity. You can Royal Guard this electricity change if you want to. It's very stylish, but it actually takes a bit more skill, that one. A bit more timing. And then look, he goes into electricity mode, we shoot his electricity, we get Devil Trigger back. I've done absolutely nothing you cannot do, guys. This mission is in the bag. And the good thing about this mission taking 20 minutes is as long as you keep that style rating up a decent amount of the time and you do some good damage to him, you're gonna get a good performance. So even if your level's been bad and you've got like 3,000 style points, you're gonna come out of this fight with over 6,000 style points guaranteed, and even if you die with 6,000 style points, you will still get the S rank. So if you die at the end of this fight but you think your fight was good, continue like I did in that other video and see if you can get it. Chances are you probably will. And if you don't care about doing it like this, you could even use Faust. Faust can do incredible damage to this boss. You don't even have to learn him. You can just wait for that and let it do its magic. But jump over him, jab his face. Replace the jab with whatever move you like. It's just a placeholder for you to get creative. And if you just want to jab like I do, it's surprisingly decent at keeping the combo up, which makes no bloody sense. But I recommend Trickster for this moment, because you don't have to worry about timing it. You can just spam. And I would never ever normally recommend spamming dodge, but when you're using Trickster to evade an icicle rain, spam the shit out of it. Especially in this game where you can. You couldn't spam like that in the other games. And there we go, I get hit by that. That was unfortunate. That was me misreading what move he was doing. I thought he was doing the transform, but he wasn't. And then I want to end the fight with a royal release, but his swing is so awkward, I can't land it. So you're going to see me royal release this boss like 4 times, and it doesn't land. But if you watch, when he comes closer after he charges, he always charges here, guys. Just jump at the last moment, and then either push forward, or just watch yourself. There's his big charge. It's not difficult to dodge, I just ended up getting hit with it. 2 sloppy hits for no reason. But if you watch, that was me doing a normal guard. That was me doing a normal guard. There was... No, that wasn't it. Was that it? There it was. That's the first failed royal release. Because it didn't land. Luckily the game didn't take it off me. That was kind of it. Here we go again. That was a royal release and it missed. That was a royal release and it missed. And that's the end of the fight. What a strange fight, right? And look at the points. 6,940. Just by doing that crappy strategy, I got 6,000 points. I didn't even need the bonuses, and I still got it. And if that doesn't convince you that this isn't impossible, nothing will. So thank you for watching. I hope the video helped, and Godspeed on getting your S ranks. You take care now.